The story begins on a bright and sunny day in the middle of the ocean. A luxurious cruise ship sails gracefully through the sparkling blue waves. The ship is filled with people laughing, chatting, and enjoying their vacations. On the upper deck, the camera zooms in on a couple. Standing by the railing, Emily, a kind and cheerful woman, looks out at the endless ocean with a smile on her face. Her husband, Richard, a confident and wealthy man, stands beside her, sipping his drink and looking a bit bored. The narrator's voice echoes gently over the scene. On this grand ship, surrounded by beauty and comfort, everyone is here to relax and escape their worries. But for Emily and Richard, this journey will take a surprising turn. Their beliefs will be tested, and their lives will be changed forever. Little do they know, a quiet passenger on board holds the key to their survival. As the camera pans to the far side of the deck, we see a young African man sitting quietly by himself. He's sketching something in a notebook, focused and calm. His peaceful demeanor stands out amidst the busy surroundings. This is Adam, a man whose courage and skill will soon make him the hero of the story. A married couple standing together on the deck. Emily, the wife, is smiling and enjoying the fresh ocean air. Her eyes sparkle with warmth, and you can see she's a kind person, someone who loves to make connections with others. She looks around, taking in the beauty of the sea, but her mind also drifts to the past, thinking of memories from her school days. Her husband, Richard, stands next to her, but he seems less interested in the ocean. He sips his drink slowly, his eyes scanning the ship's activities, but there's an underlying tension in his posture. Richard is confident, maybe even a bit too confident at times. He comes from a wealthy background, and you can tell he expects people to treat him with respect because of it. His face is calm, but there's a certain coldness to him, especially when it comes to people he doesn't understand. As they enjoy the view, Emily spots someone in the distance, sitting quietly on a bench. She squints, and her face lights up with recognition. Could it be? No, it is. That's Adam, she says softly, almost to herself. Adam, sitting alone, completely absorbed in his notebook as he sketches. He looks peaceful and content, far from the busy world around him. Emily's excitement is clear as she gently nudges Richard. "That's Adam, my old classmate," she says with a smile. But Richard looks over at Adam with an uncertain frown. He's confused, unsure of why Emily is so excited to see him. His eyes narrow as he takes in Adam's appearance. He's not like the other passengers. He doesn't belong in Richard's world. Emily can't wait any longer. She quickly walks toward Adam, her heart racing with excitement. As she gets closer, she calls out to him, "Adam! It's been years!" Her voice is filled with joy, and her face lights up with a big smile. Adam looks up from his notebook, his eyes wide in surprise. For a moment, he doesn't recognize her, but then his expression softens, and a smile forms on his face. "Emily? Wow, I didn't expect to see you here." His voice is warm and friendly, just like she remembers from their school days. They both stand there for a few moments, catching their breath, looking at each other as if trying to believe this unexpected reunion. Emily can't stop smiling, and Adam chuckles softly, shaking his head in disbelief. They begin to talk, and the conversation flows easily. It's as if no time has passed at all. They talk about old memories, how Adam always helped Emily with her studies back in school, how he was there to cheer her up when she was feeling down. Adam was always kind and patient, and he had a way of making people feel comfortable around him. Emily remembers those moments fondly and can't help but feel grateful for his friendship. As they continue to catch up, Emily's smile fades slightly when she remembers how much she missed their friendship. She hadn't seen him in so long, and life had taken them in different directions. But now, here he is, sitting right in front of her on this ship, a reminder of the good times they shared. Meanwhile, Richard stands off to the side watching the two of them talk. His eyes narrow as he observes the interaction. He doesn't understand why Emily is so excited to see this man, and the more he watches, the more unsettled he feels. There's something about Adam that doesn't sit well with him. Adam doesn't fit in with the world Richard is used to, the world of wealth and status. Later that evening, Emily and Richard sit down for dinner at one of the fancy restaurants on the ship. The atmosphere is elegant, with soft music playing in the background. The waiters move around, serving delicious food to the guests, and everything seems perfect. But Richard can't stop thinking about what happened earlier on the deck. He keeps glancing over at Emily, who's happily chatting with Adam. He doesn't like the way she looks at him, the way her face lights up when she talks to him. Richard shifts in his seat, clearly uncomfortable. He picks up his glass, takes a sip, and then puts it down with a little more force than necessary. "So, who was that guy again?" he asks, his voice sounding a bit sharp. Emily looks at him, surprised by the sudden question. She hesitates for a moment before answering. "His name is Adam," she says gently. "He was my classmate in school. He always helped me with my studies." She smiles as she says it, remembering the good times they shared. But Richard doesn't seem pleased. He narrows his eyes and looks at Emily, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Really? And why exactly is he here on this cruise? Doesn't seem like the type who would fit in with people like us," Richard says, his tone cold. Emily's smile fades slightly, and she feels a wave of discomfort. She's not sure how to respond to his comment. She wants to explain that Adam is a good person, but she can tell Richard isn't interested in hearing it. Instead, she stays quiet, picking at her food. The silence between them grows, and the tension in the air is thick. Richard's prejudice is clear, and it stings Emily more than she's willing to admit. As the dinner goes on, Richard's mind continues to race. He can't shake the feeling that something's not right about Adam. He doesn't like how comfortable Emily seems around him, and that bothers him. In Richard's world, people like Adam don't belong. He thinks to himself, who does this guy think he is, just showing up out of nowhere? But Emily, lost in her thoughts of the past, doesn't notice the change in Richard's mood. She's just happy to reconnect with an old friend. The next day, as the sun begins to set, Richard decides to confront Adam. He's been thinking about him all morning, feeling uncomfortable about the connection between him and Emily. Richard doesn't like what he sees, and he wants to show Adam that he's not welcome in his world. Richard walks across the deck with purpose, his steps quick and confident. Adam is sitting on the same bench, quietly reading a book. He looks up when he hears Richard approach, offering a friendly smile, but Richard's face remains serious. "Hey, Adam," Richard says, forcing a smile. "I thought I'd show you something interesting." He gestures to the railing of the ship, his tone pretending to be friendly. Adam, who's always been easygoing, nods and follows him. As they reach the edge of the deck, Richard stops and looks out at the sea. The wind is picking up, and the waves crash against the ship. Richard's eyes flick to Adam, and in that moment his smile fades into something darker. He takes a step closer to Adam, his voice lowering. "Ever wonder what it feels like to fall into the ocean?" Richard asks, his words cold and taunting. He steps closer, pretending to lose his balance. In one swift movement, he grabs Adam by the arm and shoves him toward the railing, as if he's about to push him into the water. Adam stumbles, but he doesn't fall. He quickly regains his balance, his calm demeanor never changing. He looks at Richard, unbothered, and straightens up. "What are you trying to do, Richard?" Adam asks, his voice steady and calm. There's no fear in his eyes, only a quiet confidence that Richard doesn't expect. Richard stands there for a moment, taken aback. He had hoped to see Adam panic or show fear, but instead, Adam remains composed. Richard laughs nervously, pretending it was all just a joke. "I was just messing around, you know," he says, backing away. Adam doesn't say anything in return. He just turns and walks away, leaving Richard standing there feeling foolish. As he watches Adam leave, Richard's frustration grows. He's not used to people standing up to him like that, and it bothers him more than he wants to admit. Later that evening, the weather takes a sudden turn. The calm, clear skies turn dark, and heavy clouds begin to gather overhead. The once gentle breeze picks up speed, becoming a strong wind that rattles the windows. The ship's lights flicker, and the passengers begin to notice the change in the atmosphere. A few of them glance nervously at the sky, but no one expects what's coming. Within minutes, the storm arrives. The wind howls fiercely, and the rain pours down in sheets, drenching everything in its path. The ship rocks violently, and the once calm ocean is now full of crashing waves. Passengers who were once enjoying the evening are now rushing to find shelter, their faces filled with fear as the ship tilts and shakes. On the deck, Emily grips the railing tightly, her heart pounding in her chest. She looks around in panic, feeling the ship swaying under the force of the storm. Her mind races. She's never seen anything like this before. The storm seems to come out of nowhere, and she feels completely helpless. Richard, trying to keep his composure, pulls Emily closer to him. "Stay close," he says, his voice tense. He's doing his best to stay calm, but even he can feel the danger in the air. The crew members are rushing around, shouting orders to each other, trying to keep control of the ship. Suddenly, a loud crash echoes through the ship, and the lights go out. The entire ship is plunged into darkness. Panic spreads among the passengers as the ship shakes even harder. People scream in fear, and Emily's grip on Richard tightens. In the midst of the chaos, Emily remembers Adam. She looks around, but she can't see him anywhere. Her heart sinks as she realizes that Adam is still out there, alone on the deck. She worries about him, knowing that he's not like the other passengers. He's calm and collected, but this storm is fierce, and no one knows what might happen next. Just then, a voice comes over the ship's loudspeaker, barely audible over the noise of the storm. "Attention, all passengers. Please head to the lower decks for safety. We are facing severe weather. Stay calm and follow all crew instructions." Emily and Richard, along with the rest of the passengers, begin to move toward the stairs leading down. But as they do, Emily's thoughts keep returning to Adam. She has a feeling that something important is about to happen. As the storm rages on, the ship continues to rock violently. Passengers are frightened, huddled together on the lower decks, while the crew struggles to maintain control. The lights flicker and then go completely out, leaving the ship in total darkness. The air is filled with the sounds of thunder, crashing waves, and panicked voices. Amidst all the chaos, Emily can't stop thinking about Adam. She's worried about him. She knows he's calm, but this storm is dangerous. She can't help but feel that he might be in trouble. Then, suddenly, through the loud noise of the storm, Emily hears a familiar voice shouting orders. "Everyone, stay calm. We need to get to the engine room now." Emily turns around, wide-eyed, as she realizes it's Adam's voice. She rushes toward the sound, pushing past panicked passengers. When she finally spots him, she sees him moving with purpose, calmly leading a group of crew members toward the lower part of the ship. "Adam!" Emily calls out, her voice barely audible over the storm. "What's happening?" Adam turns and sees her, his face serious but calm. "The ship's engines are failing. I'm an engineer, I can fix this. But I need help. The storm is making it worse, and if we don't act fast, we'll be in real trouble." Emily is shocked. She never knew Adam was an engineer, let alone one with the skills to save the ship in this kind of crisis. Without hesitation, she follows him as he leads them down a narrow, dark hallway toward the engine room. Inside the room, the situation is worse than they imagined. The ship's main engine is malfunctioning, and the backup systems aren't working either. Water is leaking into the lower decks, and the pressure is mounting. Adam takes quick action, checking the controls and working on the engines, his hands moving swiftly but with precision. "We need to get this back online before the ship sinks," Adam mutters to himself, focused entirely on the task at hand. He's not scared, he's in control. As he works, Emily watches in awe. She had no idea Adam was so skilled. She feels a mixture of relief and gratitude, knowing that he's the one who can save them all. She notices Richard standing in the doorway, watching Adam work with a stunned expression. Richard seems to have finally realized that Adam is not just some random passenger, he's their lifeline. Despite the heavy storm, Adam continues to work tirelessly, his focus never wavering. His actions are calm, precise, and heroic. He's risking his own life to keep the ship afloat, and with every turn of the wrench, every adjustment to the system, he's bringing them closer to safety. Finally, after what seems like an eternity, Adam stands back, wipes his brow, and gives a small, confident nod. The engine roars back to life, and the ship begins to steady itself. The storm may still be raging outside, but inside the engine room, there's a feeling of hope. Adam has saved the ship, and everyone on board owes their safety to him. After the storm finally begins to calm, the ship slowly steadies itself and the passengers start to breathe a sigh of relief. The lights flicker back on, and the crew members begin to organize everyone to ensure safety. Emily, still in awe of what Adam has done, feels a deep sense of gratitude. She approaches him slowly, her heart filled with admiration. Adam is sitting quietly in a corner, taking a moment to rest. He looks exhausted but content, knowing he's done what needed to be done. His hands are still slightly shaking from the intense effort, but his calm expression never changes. Emily stands in front of him, unsure of what to say. "Adam, I don't know how to thank you," she says, her voice filled with emotion. "You saved all of us. You saved the ship." Adam looks up at her and smiles softly, though there's a hint of humility in his eyes. "I didn't do it for thanks, Emily. I just did what needed to be done. I couldn't stand by and let everyone suffer." Emily nods, feeling both proud and guilty. She realizes that she had underestimated Adam for so long, assuming that his background and the life he lived weren't as important or valuable as the world she and Richard came from. But now, seeing him in action, she understands just how wrong she was. At that moment, Richard steps up beside Emily. His expression is different now. His earlier judgment and harsh words are gone. He looks at Adam, a sense of respect in his eyes that wasn't there before. I didn't know," Richard says quietly, his voice sincere. "I'm sorry for how I treated you earlier. You proved me wrong. You saved us all, and I was wrong to doubt you." Adam doesn't hold a grudge. He simply nods, accepting Richard's apology without hesitation. "It's all right," he replies. "What matters is that we're all safe now." As the storm clears and the ship continues on its journey, Emily reflects on everything that has happened. She thinks about how quick she was to judge Adam all those years ago, and how much she's learned today, not just about him, but about herself and her own beliefs. She's proud of Adam for his heroism, and she's proud of herself for letting go of her past assumptions. For Richard, this experience has been a humbling one. He's learned a hard lesson about respect and the value of people, no matter where they come from. He knows he has a lot to change in the way he thinks, but this moment, this act of heroism, has opened his eyes. The storm may have passed, but the impact of the events will stay with them. They all know they've learned something important. It's not about where someone comes from, or what they look like. It's about the heart, the strength, and the courage they show when it matters the most. As the days pass, the storm's impact fades, but the lessons learned from it linger in everyone's minds. The ship continues its journey, calm once again, but for Emily, Richard, and Adam, nothing will ever be the same. Emily walks around the deck, her heart at peace. She sees Richard, who now smiles with warmth and respect when he looks at Adam. The tension that once hung between them is gone. Richard approaches Emily, and they stand together looking out at the calm ocean. "I never realized how wrong I was," he says quietly. "I see now how much we all have to learn. Adam, he's not just a hero on that ship. He's someone I should have respected from the start." Emily nods, her eyes thoughtful. "I think we both learned something today. It's not about where someone comes from or how they look. It's about what they can do, who they are inside." She pauses, looking at Adam as he sits nearby, talking to a few of the crew members, sharing his expertise and making sure everything is in order. Adam saved us all, and that's what matters. As they continue their journey, Emily feels a deep sense of gratitude toward Adam. She knows that not only has he saved their lives, but he's also changed the way they see the world. She's learned to look beyond appearances, to see the true worth in a person. For Richard, this journey has opened his eyes. He's learned the importance of kindness, respect, and humility. He's grateful for Adam's forgiveness and for the chance to change. And Adam? He doesn't seek recognition or praise. For him, doing what's right is simply part of who he is. He's happy knowing that the ship and its passengers are safe, and that he helped them in a time of need. As the sun sets over the calm sea, Emily, Richard, and Adam all know they've experienced something unforgettable. They've come through a storm, not just the one outside, but the one inside their hearts. And in the end, they realize that true strength comes not from power or appearance, but from the kindness and courage inside. The ship sails on, and so do they, changed, wiser, and ready for whatever comes next. We hope you enjoyed this story and learned a lesson. For more related content, please subscribe our channel, and don't forget to like, share, and comment where from. You watch. Thanks for watching.